Hi, it's Anne from SortMyBooks. I am doing this video for anybody that has projects or jobs where you would like to see, are you making a profit on that job? What I'll do is I'll skip to the end to show you the results you can achieve, and then we'll go back to the beginning to see how do you actually do that. The first report we're going to look at is the profit and loss report. You can see on the left hand side there's a filter where we can choose a job. On the right hand side we have no job chosen, so what we're seeing is the sales and the cost of sales for the entire business. But let's say I want to see just for one project, so I choose project A here in my filter and I click apply. And now we can see the numbers have changed. It's just showing me the income and expenses related to that job. If we want to see the full detail, you can go up here, click list all transactions, click apply, and it's going to show you the invoices that you've sent out to your customer, and below here it's going to show you the subcontractor invoices. That's one of the expenses I've got in there. We'd also obviously have things like materials. But this gives you an indication of what you can do, so you can see exactly what is happening with a specific job. So if I go back to our overview, you can see this is the sales we have, these are the expenses we have, the cost of those sales, and currently we're running a 20,000 profit on that job. I want to show you this other report also, work in progress report. The work in progress report has a lot more detail. You can see all your projects listed. If you put in a quote for the project, you can see what is the entire project worth. What have you quoted to the customer? What have you invoiced so far to that customer? How much is the labor on this project? What are the other costs? The other costs be subcontractors, materials, etc. What is the current profit that you're running at, the profit margin? The net profit is based on the quote minus the labor cost minus all other costs. We can drill down on the project and see the detail behind it. So we see what was quoted, what's been invoiced so far, what labor we've attached to the project, and what other costs we've attached to the project, such as subcontractors and materials. Now that we know what we can achieve with this, how do we do it? So I'm going back to SortMyBooks, and firstly it starts with a quote. So I've got a quote here for, and even you don't have to send this quote to your customer. The only purpose we need for this quote to populate the report for us, the work in progress report. So we've come in and put in what is the total amount that you've quoted the customer for this project. And down here you click add, and code is what you need, just whatever name or numbering system you have for your projects. Just use that and make sure you tag the quote and any lines you add to this quote with that project. Then you do the same when you're creating an invoice for that project. So I've created an invoice here for little, and just make sure the job, again, it has the same job. The same with purchases relating to that project. You make sure that those are also tagged with the job. If you're using auto entry, which I hope you are, to capture your receipts and purchase invoices, in auto entry it's called cost centers. So when you're publishing a purchase invoice from auto entry, you just choose the cost center there before you send it over to SortMyBooks. It is no more complicated than that. Just make sure that every transaction you put in relating to that project is tagged with that project. And you'll be able to see when you go to your report, when you're looking at your profit and loss report and you filter, you'll be able to see, especially when you pull up all the details, you can see then if something is tagged incorrectly, and you can just fix it and off you go again. The more complex part, and it's still not too bad, is the labor costs. And you might be thinking, well, don't I just journal that from payroll? But here's the thing. The amount you pay your employees is not really what they cost. If you think in terms of an hourly rate, you are paying your employees for every hour. So you're paying them for 52 weeks a year, but they don't work 52 weeks a year. They have 10 days public holidays and they have at least 4 weeks annual leave. And then there's sick pay that you should be considering as well, because we have to start paying sick pay, and within 3 years it'll be up to 10 days of sick pay. So you might want to put in something for that also. But what I'm getting at is the cost per hour of your employee. You need to factor that in. Now, what I've done is I've drafted in an expert for us, Neil, and he is going to do us a nice video explainer with a worksheet where you can work out your employee's cost per hour. So I'm going to show you in SortMyBooks what you do once you have that figure. So we're going to go to sales and timesheets. We have a timesheet function here, and its purpose in this example is for us to be able to track how much the employee costs and have that labor cost show up on the work in progress report. And I have set up each employee. They've been set up here. So there's my employees. We've got Joe Lyons and we've Trevor McCarthy. What I've also done is I've set these guys up as a service. And the reason I've done that is so that I can record the cost of them. Now, if you have a bunch of lads that are all the same rate, they're all paid the same, you can just set up, a service, for example, called labor, and then you can track it that way. The reason that I've put the two lads in separately is because they're on different rates. So I go back to my sales timesheets. I've already added a week for Joe Lyons, and I've put him on the little project, or project A. Now, how I did that, I click on add multiple days and I can pick last week. This add multiple days works where your person was on the same job for the whole week. So if they weren't, don't worry about it. We'll look at that example next. I'm going to choose project B, and my customer is Dunn Stores. My employee this time is Trevor. See, I've got my service and my employee the same. The reason I have two, this is Trevor, he gets paid as an employee, but the service is where I can calculate his cost. So then you put in the hours that they were on the job. You don't need to worry about billable, just make sure it has the same as this one. That billable is for a different function that we're not going through in this exercise. Click OK, and then Trevor is added to project B. And if I refresh my work in progress report, I will be able to see a labor cost now under project B. So that is how you populate the employee section, is you go here and you add in a timesheet. If you have guys and they're on different jobs every day of the week or even every half day, then you just fill out a timesheet for, you choose the job again, and you choose what date, and you choose the customer, choose the employee, and choose the employee again, and you put in how many hours on that job, and you fill out the timesheets like that. If you click on the sales tab and you notice that you do not have timesheets, that would mean you have to upgrade to that version of SortMyBooks. And it depends on what subscription you're on now, but contact us and we'll let you know. And just where do you find that report? If you click on reports, click on sales reports, and then you'll see the work in progress report. The profit and loss report you should be easily able to find. Click on all reports, ledger reports, and there is the profit and loss report. I hope this has been helpful. If you want any more information about this feature, just let us know.